In this video, I'm going to discuss ways to develop self-worth and self-confidence. The first 6 techniques are well-known psychological ideas, and the last 3 you may find surprising. Everyone hopes to be confident and have a certain level of self-worth. The first thing we need to do to develop our own self-worth is to get out from underneath the shadow of our parents. We have to look deeply at the conditioning that was given to us by our parents, both good and bad. Even good conditioning can be a hindrance to your self-worth if it means you have to rely on your parents, if you have to rely on their thinking that you're okay, or you have to kiss up to them. If you have to please your parents, that level of conditioning is not very good. Not to mention the bad conditioning, all the things that you were told about yourself that's just not true. And a lot of this stuff happened when we were very young, and we may not even be that aware of it. So becoming aware of our conditioning is vitally important first step to becoming self-aware, self-confident, and have a level of self-worth. Aside from what our parents have told us, there's society itself. And this usually begins in middle school, when the eye-to-eye contact with your peer group becomes intense and everybody starts telling you what they think of you. You're no longer protected by your parents. And from there, we go into high school, where it can get either better or worse. We start to work in the workforce, and all these ideas that people give to us about who we are, we need to bring them to the surface and look closely at them and decide whether they serve us or not. Like I said, much of this stuff is subconscious. This is the reason why things like meditation and introspection and self-inquiry, like who am I? Ask yourself that over and over. Who am I? And these things will start to come up, and you can look clearly at them and decide, oh, does this work for me? Does this work for me anymore? I'm not so sure this works for me anymore. The next thing that you can just let it go if it doesn't work for you anymore. The next thing that we need to do in this life to develop self-worth is to make some money. Make money and take care of ourselves. This is absolutely vitally important, because there's no way around it unless you have somebody that'll take care of you. And I suspect if you have somebody that'll take care of you, you might have troubles with self-worth that you probably won't even be able to remedy. A lot of women have trouble with this, and that they get married and the man takes care of them. They have kids, the kids grow up, and suddenly it's like, well, who am I? What is my self-worth? And then finding love. And love, as in a loving relationship, is one kind of love. It can be love for your job. It can be love for some project that you're involved in. It can be love for religion, or love for some sort of philosophy that you live for. It can be love for the Creator, or ultimately, and the ultimate love, and the love that's necessary for all love, is self-love. And self-love is what we should cultivate no matter what we decide to do in this life. And self-love is the continual challenge that presents itself to us every single day. It's not something we really get together. Every day presents a new challenge for us to love ourselves. Another important aspect of self-confidence is style. We all have our own style. This is kind of unfair because it hinges on money. The more money you have, the easier it is to have style. If you're driving around in a Maserati, it probably doesn't matter what you're wearing. But if you have meager, income, or just normal income, creating style is super important. And everybody has their own style. The idea is to be conscious about it. Be aware of what your style is. Feel good about it. Step forward with your style. Hold your head up. And that will create a certain amount of healthy self-importance. Self-importance is obviously needed, but too much self-importance, like all this advice I'm giving right now, too much of it is not good. Not enough of it is certainly not good as well. And in order to be stylish and self-important, to do any of these things, we have to be healthy and vital. Staying healthy and vital is absolutely important if we hope to feel good about ourselves. Aside from eating good food, which is obviously important, we need to exercise, and this is really obvious advice, of course, but it's advice that needs to be given a lot because people tend to slack off, they get lazy, they think, and particularly when you're young, you think, oh, it's not that important. No, it is important. Daily exercise and always eating the right foods, staying away from empty calories, not eating junk food, staying away from the white things like white sugar and white flour. These are vitally important. I would say what is equally important is breathing, learning how to breathe. Do Qigong, do solar Qigong. Go to solarqigong.com and learn Qigong. That'd be my obvious advice. Or do some sort of pranayama or breathing exercises, or just breathe deeply when you're outside. Breathe deeply. Breathe deep into your core, because that's how we get energy. And it will allow us to do what's really important, and that is to age gracefully. Self-importance is easy, self-confidence and the ability to be aware and feel good about yourself is easy when you're young. As we age, self-confidence and self-worth becomes more and more of a challenge. Not just because of physical ailments and you're getting weaker and all that. It's that people start to treat you differently as you get older. You start to become invisible. So all these things I've just talked about, having your conditioning right, feeling good about your love life and sex, having a certain amount of style, feeling good and healthy and strong and vital, these all will contribute to aging gracefully. And aging gracefully is super, super important, because you may live a long time, and we generally are older longer than we are younger. This is undeniable, if you're lucky enough to live long. Now, for the things that may seem less important, but in my feeling are the most important, are more esoteric and they're more internal. Starting with inspiration and imagination. Inspiration and imagination are the doors to open up our internal life. And when our internal life is rich and vital and we're aware of who we are on the inside, it's much easier to have self-worth. All those other things that I was just talking about, they're external. They're very important, but they change. They change with time, they change with your situation, they change with the people you're around. Some people are impressed with those external things, others aren't. But everybody will be impressed with your inner force, with your inner awareness. Inner awareness is a passport to everywhere in the universe. Inner awareness is the most important thing. And inspiration is to breathe. We were just talking about breathing, and inspire is to breathe, and inspiration comes from the breath. Deep breathing will always bring inspiration. So breathing deeply will give you the inspiration to move forward and do those external things that it takes to be self-confident, and then to look deeper inside for imagination. Now, imagination is very misunderstood in our society. It's considered something that artists and little children do, but imagination is how we take inspiration and make it usable. You get an inspired feeling and you will put an image around it, which is imagination. You imagine it into a workable concept. Being imaginative is what keeps you young. Imagination is what separates the sheep from the goats. The people that just want to be sheep and go through life and be told what to do and be like everybody else, they lack imagination. Those that want to do it their way, have things like how they feel it should be, move forward outside of the pack, that's always done with imagination. And everything is imagined first. Everything is imagined first. The imagining that creates things is often disguised as hard work, because you can't just imagine it. You have to have intention and you have to have involvement, of course. But from imagination and inspiration, we can come to the realization that we are energy. Everything is energy. This body is energy and it's temporary. This is a temporary home. But who we are on the inside is not temporary. We are eternal energy. Now, I'm not saying you're going to stay identified to your personality now, because your personality now is relative to this body and to your situation in this lifetime. That will fade. That will die with the body. But who we are as energy goes on. That consciousness, that which is peering out of your eyes right now, that is who you are. And it's energetic. We are energy. Discovering ourselves as energy is the clearest path to self-worth, because nobody can put energy down. As long as you realize that you're energy and you stay in that awareness of being energy, it's very easy to be self-confident. There's a step beyond that. More than just energy, we are space. We are space. We are the space that holds energy. Consciousness is actually everything in between energy, if that makes any sense. Everything in existence, all the myriad of things, is made from energy. But what looks at the myriad of things? What is it that observes the myriad of things? That is who we are. We are space. We are consciousness. We are open awareness, an awareness that doesn't need props, an awareness that doesn't need a body. We have a body now, and it really feels like we need it because we're in a situation in time and space where we have to survive. But who we really are is this space between the cells, the space between all the objects in the universe. We are everything in a sense. Now, I don't truly understand this, but I know it to be true. And you can find it to be true for yourself. Just sit still. Be completely still. Get beyond the five senses. Get beyond your thinking mind, and you'll feel yourself expand. And as you're expanding, you'll feel yourself go inward. And as you go more inward, there is tremendous space in the very center of who we are. In the center of our spine is tremendous space. And this space, this feeling of expansion, is who we are. Human life is a movie. You are not the movie. You're observing the movie. The body is just a part in the movie. Your personality is just one of the players in the movie. The movie is moving through time and space, and you, my friends, are watching the movie. You're not the movie. We are eternal energy. We're vast space. Trapped, or I don't know if trapped's the right word, but being housed temporarily in this body, on this planet, in time and space, and enjoying the view. Above all, self-confidence and self-worth comes from seeing yourself as energy, as the space of consciousness that is temporarily housed in this body and is observing the view, watching the movie of life go by in a joyful manner.